Welcome to video 3.1, Safety, in the Leadership Toolkit from the Safe and Effective Use of AI in Education online resources. It's essential that all educational settings are clear with staff around what tools are safe to use and how they can use them. Carefully selecting AI tools for your setting will help to ensure the safety of your school or college community. The integration of AI into education presents both transformative opportunities and significant challenges. This section will delve into the key issues that must be considered when planning for the safe and effective use of AI in schools and colleges. From understanding the inherent limitations of AI, such as the generation of inaccuracies and the potential for bias, to navigating the complexities of data protection, intellectual property rights and safeguarding responsibilities, this overview will highlight the critical factors that educational leaders must address to harness the benefits of AI whilst mitigating potential risks. In this section, we will look at the following considerations. Firstly, limitations of AI systems. Secondly, data and intellectual property considerations. Then safeguarding. Then selecting tools safely. Then enterprise tools. And finally, curriculum and skills to support safe use. Section 1, limitations of AI systems. As the Teacher Toolkit explains, there are certain issues inherent in AI systems that must be considered when planning for the safe and effective use of AI. We know that AI can be inaccurate due to hallucinations. Hallucinations are inaccuracies in an otherwise factual output. For example, the AI system might give you a fake fact or a made-up quote or an answer that sounds right but actually isn't. It doesn't do this on purpose. It doesn't have any intention and can't think. It just guesses based on patterns in the data that it's been trained on. That's why it's important to always have a human in the loop to double-check the output from AI systems. We also know that AI systems can sometimes show bias. This can be because there was bias in the data that it was trained on, or the developer could have intentionally or unintentionally introduced bias or censorship into the model. This again highlights the importance of a critical mindset when using AI, and we need to consider how the whole school community can develop these important critical thinking skills. Section 2, data and intellectual property. Data protection is of paramount importance when introducing AI into a school or college, as is the need to safeguard intellectual property or IP. It is important to have a clear understanding of the risks and ensure that staff are able to distinguish between IP and data protection. IP covers a broad range of creative and original works, including text, images, music, and code. Before using AI to generate or manipulate content based on someone else's work, such as using an AI-based application for marking or feedback on a student's work, permission must be obtained from the rights holder. This distinction is crucial because an individual's work may be protected under intellectual property laws even if it doesn't contain personal data. To protect data and intellectual property, we should be certain that the AI system being used doesn't train on the work that we enter as prompts or upload to the system. In the case of student or pupil work, we'd be infringing their intellectual property rights if, for example, we were to enter their work without their permission into an AI system for marking or feedback, which then use their work to train the AI model. There is also the risk of secondary copyright infringement, which could happen if AI products are trained on unlicensed materials and the outputs are then used in educational settings or published more widely. Examples of this may include publishing a policy that's been created by an AI tool that used input taken from another school or college's policy without that setting's permission. Using an image on a website that's been created by an AI tool using input taken from the copyright holder without their permission. Good data protection practices are also essential. Under UK General Data Protection Regulations, or UK GDPR, if you're processing personal data, information that identifies an individual, such as pupil names, assessments, or work that contains identifiable details, you must have a lawful basis. Your lawful basis will depend on why you are processing the data and must be determined by your specific circumstances, but must be one of the following. Consent. the individual has given clear permission for you to process the personal data for a specific purpose. Contract. The processing is necessary for a contract you have had with the individual or because they have asked you to take specific steps before entering into a contract. Legal obligation. The processing is necessary for you to comply with the law, not including contractual obligations. Vital interests. The processing is necessary to protect someone's life. Public task. The processing is necessary for you to perform a task in the public interest or for your official functions, and the task or function has a clear basis in law. Legitimate interests. The processing is necessary for your legitimate interests or the legitimate interests of a third party, unless there's a good reason to protect the individual's personal data which overrides those interests. This basis cannot be used for public authorities for processing done in the performance of their official tasks. Before using an AI tool that processes personal data, you must ensure it complies with UK GDPR. Staff could be breaching data protection laws. This is why it is so important to understand how the AI tool processes the data you introduce into it, and, based on that knowledge, create an approved list of tools for your setting. To do this, you should work with your school or college's data protection officer and IT lead, managed service provider or technical support company, and link governor with appropriate responsibilities to read and understand the terms and conditions of use. Phrases such as "not reviewed by anyone," or "data is not used to train the artificial intelligence model or shared with other users," or "activity isn't used for model improvements," or "prompts are not reviewed by humans," all suggest that data will be safer. The Department for Education's Using Generative Artificial Intelligence Safely training video provides schools with guidance on the safe use of generative AI in schools. It is supported by downloadable resources on the need, read, proceed approach to aid compliance with data protection. These resources are available for your schools to use as a visual reminder, helping you stay informed on protecting personal data whilst using AI safely and securely to enhance teaching. In addition, you need to look for a tool that gives enterprise-level controls. For example, you could check if your organisation can suspend activity and monitor use, which may be provided as part of the AI tool or through your filtering and monitoring systems. There are additional safeguards needed if you were to provide an AI tool to students. Most free tools with personal accounts don't provide these protections, which is why it's important to provide a list of any approved AI tools in your setting that have been assessed and which the organisation has control over. In all cases, it's important that the use of any intellectual property is consented to by the copyright owner, and in the case of students under 18, a parent or guardian permission would need to be sought on behalf of the pupil or student. Subsection 3. Safeguarding. Any access to AI for students or pupils needs to be carefully planned, bearing in mind the Department for Education's policy position on use of AI and its product safety requirements. You'll also need to ensure that you use it in line with keeping children safe in education guidance. Most freely available tools will not be suitable for student use as they will not have the appropriate safeguards in place, and the AI tool or model may learn on the prompts and the information that's been input into them. It's important to understand and enforce the minimum age requirements of these tools and consider how their responsible use can be supported. There's a lot we still need to know about the impact of AI use on young people, and evidence is still developing. There are potential safeguarding risks as well as the danger of over-reliance and deeper learning being bypassed. Many AI systems will simply provide an answer rather than explaining the process, and so they don't contribute to the learning process. We'll be focusing mostly on teacher use in these toolkits. Safeguarding is everyone's responsibility and should be the top priority when deciding whether and how to use generative AI in an educational setting. Leaders can work together to understand emerging safeguarding risks related to AI in order to take action to protect the students in their care. To facilitate the safe, responsible and effective use of generative AI, leaders and staff should remember the online world often mirrors or amplifies behaviour issues seen offline. child protection, including online safety policies and behaviour policies, should be updated to reflect the rapidly changing risks from AI use. You can learn more about this in Module 3 of the Teacher Toolkit. To reduce risks and encourage responsible AI use, consider the following. Understand the limitations. AI isn't perfect and outputs may be harmful, inaccurate, outdated, biased, or offensive. Human involvement and quality assurance is essential. You need to be sure as a leader when promoting any use that the potential outweighs the risks. Apply the basics, reinforce existing online safety education, keeping data secure, protect personal information when using AI tools, and be aware of data protection settings. Follow legal guidance such as the Data Protection Act and UK GDPR. Stay vigilant. Be aware of the realistic nature of AI-generated content and the potential for scams. To use AI systems safely and effectively, schools and colleges should comply with age restrictions, ensuring that any access to AI systems is only given in line with the age restrictions with that AI tool, seeking parental consent before granting access where necessary. The increasing accessibility of AI image generation tools presents new challenges that schools and colleges must prepare for, and there are some things that we can do to support this. Proactive measures are essential to minimise potential harm, such as initiatives to educate students, staff and parents about the risks of online image manipulation and the dangers of AI-generated images. You need to conduct regular training for staff on identifying and responding to online risks, including AI-generated sexual extortion. Government guidance for frontline staff on how to respond to incidents where nudes and semi-nudes have been shared also applies to incidents where sexualised deepfakes, these are computer-generated images, have been created and shared. The online world is constantly evolving, so training should be recurring to address emerging threats and should be delivered alongside your statutory regular safeguarding training for staff. That keeping children safe in education guidance highlights the importance of online safety as a core safeguarding responsibility for schools and colleges. It emphasises that staff must be trained to recognise risks such as cyberbullying, inappropriate content, online radicalisation and child exploitation. Schools should have clear policies on filtering and monitoring internet use while educating pupils on digital literacy, online behaviour and recognising misinformation. Leadership teams must ensure a robust approach to safeguarding children in an increasingly digital world, integrating online safety into the wider curriculum and staff training. Schools should have a clear policy on photographs that must be read in conjunction with other policies such as data protection, safeguarding and child protection. This is particularly important as some students opt out of their images being shared publicly. This may be in cases where the student is subject to a court order, is in care or at risk of abuse. School leaders must ensure use of photos is responsible, allowing them to achieve their objectives whilst respecting the privacy of students. Photos that identify individual children are regarded as personal data. Therefore, schools must ensure there's a clear, lawful basis before using or publishing them. To determine the most appropriate lawful basis, schools will need to think carefully about the reasons why they're using photos. For example, schools may use students' photos for identification purposes or for promotional or marketing purposes. For transparency, you must have clear privacy notices detailing how student images will be used, where they will be published and for how long. Where consent is your lawful basis, you must keep evidence of consent forms and provide easy and accessible means for parents and students to withdraw consent for the image sharing. The Information Commissioner's Office provides further guidance on taking photos in schools. As best practice, avoid including students' names when publishing photos unless there's a clear and necessary reason to do so. In the unfortunate event of an online extortion incident, you must follow your school or college's safeguarding processes, and in the case of criminal activity, this must be reported to the police. If the extortion is with a school, you may need to report it to your risk protection arrangement or insurance company. Report any indecent images to the Internet Watch Foundation. The National Crime Agency's CEOP Safety Centre provides a reporting route for under 18s to report online sexual abuse and grooming directly to NCA Child Protection Advisors. In line with Keeping Children Safe in Education guidance, schools and colleges should consider carrying out an annual review of their approach to online safety, supported by an annual risk assessment that considers and reflects the risks students face. Tools that support this include 360 Safe and the London Grid for Learning's online safety audit. The Department for Education has also published the filtering and monitoring standards to give more information on how you can meet your statutory obligations under Keeping Children Safe in Education. The standards recommend reviewing your filtering and monitoring provision at least annually. They state that this should be carried out to identify your current provision, any gaps, and your student and staff specific needs. As part of this review, the standards say that you should consider how your school uses technology, including generative AI tools. Your requirements for a filtering and monitoring provision will be different depending on whether students and/or staff use generative AI. Reviewing reports from filtering and monitoring systems is also critical. Many systems will provide alerts in real time, and filtering and monitoring reports can also help the school to spot trends to be addressed. Regular reviews of reports as standing agenda items in leadership and governor meetings will keep everyone informed and help to respond to trends. The Department for Education states that schools and colleges are free to make their own choices about the most suitable use cases for generative AI tools in their settings, as long as they comply with their wider statutory obligations, such as Keeping Children Safe in Education guidance. Security is paramount for all products, whether student or staff facing. Your home school agreement should clearly communicate how you plan to use AI tools and include necessary permissions.
Subsection 4. Selecting tools safely.
It is important to thoroughly assess any AI tool to ensure it is safe and secure enough to protect data before using it, especially when it comes to student data. Conducting a data protection impact assessment before using new AI tools will help settings identify risks to personal data and allow for the implementation of mitigations to assure that AI tools are safe, secure and ethical. There are many products available for schools and colleges, and it's important to ask some questions such as, does the tool solve an identified problem, such as teacher workload? Is there any evidence that the tool has been effective in other education establishments? Is the tool secure? Does it meet UK GDPR requirements? And does it safeguard against the loss of student data or intellectual property? Does it meet safety expectations? Does the cost of the tool represent value for money? When selecting AI tools for your setting, bear in mind the DfE's Generative AI product safety expectations. One important area covered in this guidance is filtering and monitoring. We also need to be particularly careful of any app or online tool that supports pupils or students directly with mental health issues, as there are many risks associated with this, including disclosures or patterns of behaviour not being identified. Any app or online tool offering mental health related interventions must be regulated by the Medicines and Healthcare Products Regulatory Authority. Transparency and human oversight are essential to ensure AI systems assist, but do not replace, human decision makers. AI systems could analyse large datasets of school or college information to identify patterns and trends and inform strategic decisions regarding pastoral care. For example, anonymised behaviour marks can be analysed to reveal trends and areas where support is most needed. However, it's essential that no decision that could adversely impact a student outcome is based purely on AI, without human review and oversight. For example, generating a student's final mark or declining their admission based on an AI-generated decision. Leaders can use AI platforms to interrogate their organisation's data in plain English, removing the barrier of needing expertise in spreadsheet manipulation or data analysis. AI tools can help to highlight students or pupils who may need additional support by identifying patterns in attendance, behaviour or academic performance. This allows for proactive intervention and support, preventing issues from escalating. Another key consideration is cost. When evaluating a tool, evaluate the cost effectiveness of it and consider how this may be sustainable. Some providers offer educational tools in their enterprise-grade suites at low cost or for free. Their safety for use in your setting always needs to be paramount. Before implementing any AI tool, it's important to consider factors such as inclusivity, accessibility, cost effectiveness and compliance with school privacy and security policies. A key consideration is whether its output has a clear positive impact on staff workload and/or the learning environment, and whether it aligns with the vision for digital technologies in the school development planning. Your data protection officer and IT lead can work together with leadership to assess tools by understanding the terms and conditions, including any minimum age requirements. It's important to work with data officers, leadership or management to conduct necessary checks, including a data protection impact assessment.
Subsection 5. Enterprise tools.
There are many generative AI tools available. Many of them use standard large language models and are chatbots that you can interact with naturally, whilst others generate slides and resources. An integrated AI agent, such as those found in some productivity suites or integrated into your operating system, can perform tasks and make decisions within the software to help users work more efficiently. Others may offer adaptive testing or insights into data that can help you to target support and interventions. These tools need to have the proper safeguards in place. A freely available tool that staff sign up to on an individual basis won't have the technical safeguards to protect data and intellectual property. And these products are unlikely to meet product safety expectations. In evaluating approved tools for your organisation, you might explore what is available as part of your organisation's existing productivity suite, or look to procure suitable tools that have appropriate safeguards in place. These tools are likely to be known as enterprise tools. So, what is an enterprise tool? In the context of AI applications for schools and colleges, enterprise tools are professionally developed AI platforms or software designed for use across a whole organisation, such as a school, college or trust. They might be provided as part of a suite of educational tools, sometimes called a workspace or productivity suite. They offer more control, security and support than consumer versions of AI tools. For example, an enterprise tool might allow leaders to manage how staff use AI, set permissions and safety controls, ensure data protection and compliance with policies, access training and technical support. Using enterprise tools can help schools adapt AI in a safer, more consistent and scalable way. There are other tools that will be useful and appropriate also that you may well consider as part of your school or college planning. Whilst we've explored many of the risks already around AI, it's important to approach the topic thoughtfully and ensure AI is used appropriately. We recommend that all leaders engage with Module 3 of the Teacher Toolkit to gain a deeper understanding of the risks. Leaders need to understand the capabilities and limitations of AI to ensure everyone can enjoy its benefits safely. It's important to be clear with all staff on the tools that have been evaluated and made available, and emphasise that only AI tools approved for your setting should be used. Non-approved tools can be blocked on the school network and devices. You may have a school intranet, learning platform or landing page where you can list links to these approved tools, further adding to clarity.
Subsection 6. Curriculum and skills to support safe use.
In the case of online safety, you should consider your computing and relationship, sex and health education online safety curriculum and whether it addresses the nuances related to online safety that are introduced by generative AI. You can use newsletters and websites to provide regular updates on AI and online safety guidelines. Workshops for parents can extend the online safety net beyond school or college boundaries. These could cover discussing the key issues around safeguarding and responsible AI use. The Department for Education has produced the guidance Teaching Online Safety in Schools, which should be considered when planning any curriculum around AI. In teaching and learning activities, it's important to measure the impact of AI tools being used by educators. Review how effective these tools are for teaching and learning and gather feedback to be able to adjust the approach regularly. Module 4 of the Teacher Toolkit explores use cases in education and can help you to consider your approaches to use of AI in teaching and learning. As generative AI tools become more prevalent, integrating AI literacy and critical thinking into existing lessons and activities should be considered. There are several ways that leaders can ensure that students and pupils develop the skills necessary to navigate an increasingly digital world. If, as teachers, we take a critical thinking approach where we evaluate the output of any AI system carefully, checking for bias, accuracy and pedagogical alignment, it becomes more likely that the output will be appropriate for its intended use. We can explicitly encourage students to question, analyse, interpret, evaluate and make judgments about information that they encounter that could be or is generated by AI. This highlights the need for pupils and students to have strong knowledge and the ability to triangulate information from trusted sources. There are opportunities in the classroom and as leaders to model the need to critically evaluate sources of information. As part of your PSHE or personal development or computing curriculum, you can consider incorporating AI ethics and digital citizenship, creating opportunities for students to discuss the ethical implications of AI, including issues such as bias, privacy and transparency. You can also encourage awareness of the environmental and societal impact of AI systems and promote responsible and ethical use of AI technologies. The National Centre for Computing Education has produced training on online safety with the UK Safer Internet Centre. In colleges and schools, you could encourage lecturers and teachers to investigate the career opportunities and impact that AI is having in a wide range of industries and include this with career advice and guidance for students. Aligning with the Gatsby benchmarks, emphasis on relevant labour market information and the statutory duty to provide comprehensive career support, schools and colleges can make use of a range of insights provided by the AI industry. Colleges have long worked closely with employers, as well as schools, but with AI changing some fields so quickly, it's now more vital than ever to build strong links with those companies leading the AI charge. The Department for Education has put together a useful report on the industries most affected by AI, which can help us decide where to focus our efforts. For instance, AI is boosting creativity in film and music, streamlining tasks such as contract reviews in business, and becoming a standard tool for writing code. Incorporating real-world examples of how AI is used in these workplaces into our courses will help students feel ready for a future where AI is commonplace. GISC has produced guidance for learner use of AI to support how you can approach this in college, which is linked to in the workbook. Some schools and colleges have promoted AI literacy within their curricula, including the use of resources provided by the National Centre for Computing Education, to ensure that students and pupils understand the basics of how AI models work, their limitations and potential biases. Before introducing or developing your use of AI tools, it's essential that you consider whether staff have the knowledge around safe use and initiate foundational training about AI and the safety implications around its use. The Teacher Toolkit linked to this Leadership Toolkit addresses this.